Hiya, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Desiree and I am a mama of 3, and I'm the owner and maker behind The Handmade Mom, where I create mom and positivity focused items. Now, this week's video, this is actually being re-recorded for a couple of reasons. So I actually recorded this already, and I was just doing some prep for my markets coming up and chatting with you guys about some things, and I didn't get to finish editing the original video and posting it when I usually post my videos on Wednesdays, because that night before, so Tuesday night, was rough. Not gonna lie, I ended up pulling an all-nighter. I had to do some work for an order that I had, but then in the midst of that, pausing to go take care of the kids when they would wake up. And for some reason yesterday, they were just waking up a lot more than they usually do. So yeah, it was a very rough day and a very rough night. So I wasn't able to post on my usual day, so that's why this is going up a little bit late. But I'm re-recording because it really got me thinking. So what I was talking about in the original video that I recorded was about time management and, you know, how to get all the things done and things like that. I think I also mentioned about, you know, not striving for perfection and being okay with, you know, right now certain things are just not meant to be for me a certain way right now and all that stuff. But after the night that we had, I kind of wanted to, I guess, elaborate a little bit more or go more in depth in our conversation on some of this stuff, because I felt like it really was testing me yesterday. So we are going to chat some more. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I talked about in the original video, and then I'm going to talk about some of the things that last night, having that all-nighter with the kids and just a rough time, what kind of it made me think about. So we're going to do that, but we are still doing market prep because we still got to get things done. So we are going to be blinging out some Starbucks cups. I have these here that I already finished. This is what I was doing in the original video, was putting the vinyl onto these, but now we've got to bling the tops. So we're going to do that. Hopefully the kids will be okay. I've got them on my monitor here. We did have a little bit of a rough time putting them down. It took a lot longer than usual, so yeah. Anyways, let's get started on working. We've got to prep these first. We've got to actually sand them a little bit to get some kind of like grit and texture to it, so that way the glue adheres really well to these. And then we got to clean them off, and then we can start putting bling on them. So we're going to start with that first. Alright, we've got our lids prepped, ready to go. We are going to start with the color red. I'll try to do this without spilling them all. Yeah, so we're going to start blinging and let's just start chatting. So let me actually adjust you guys. Okay, I think this is a little bit better. So what I was talking to you guys originally about in the original recording of this week's video was about time management and just how do I do all the things, like how do we do all the things as small business owners, as moms, things like that, right? Because it's not easy. It is not easy by any means. Also, side note, any of the stuff that I use for these lids, these cups, I will try to remember to link them in the description down below. So if you are curious or want to try to create your own, then check out the description below for the things that I use. Anyways, so yeah, I get asked all the time, how do I do it? How do I manage things? How do I, do this small business and manage 3 young children, and still have time to do X, Y, and Z, right? Like how do I do that? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I do it. I couldn't tell you that, oh yeah, I schedule things out, I sit down and I schedule everything out a week in advance, and then I follow this timeline, schedule, whatever. I don't do that. I don't know how I do it. I used to be really, really good at planning and being just super organized and super prepared for all the scenarios. But after having kids, for some reason that kind of has disappeared a bit. And I find myself struggling to be able to do that. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just more overwhelming now that there's, a lot more to manage, or if it's just, like a mom brain thing. I don't know. But I used to be really good at that. And you would think that it would have translated to motherhood and be super duper helpful. But unfortunately, it is not translated to motherhood. I actually had a really, really, really hard time getting into planning and organizing and just being clear on what my schedule was with Lala. It took me a really, really long time to get even back into using planners. So that was the challenging. And I mean, anybody who's had a baby knows that after you have a baby and get out of the hospital, there's usually lots of appointments that happen back to back to back afterwards for a few weeks. So that was hard to manage and remember and all that because I wasn't writing it down. And I don't know why. I just wasn't. And so I had a really hard time getting back into planning and getting, back into my groove of things with that it really kind of impacted the beginning parts of motherhood for me. As far as it's related to like time management and just managing everything, right? So there was that. And then now fast forward to having the twins, I have gotten better about planning. I'm still not where I used to be, Like, I used to be very color coded down to the certain color pen that had a certain color highlighter on top of it meant something specific. Like, I was down to a T like that. And now it's just all the same color pen, and the only way I differentiate is by highlighter, so I know whose appointment is what. But otherwise, and that's even if I remember to write it down. I recently forgot about an assignment that I took for my job because I didn't write it down. I forgot to write it down. So, yeah. Anyways, I feel like I'm kind of going off on something that's related but not really related to what I was trying to say. Anyways, also sorry for the sniffles with the weather changing and starting to get cooler out. Okay. Cece was stirring and I thought she was about to get up. So, but we're good. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Sorry for sniffles. With the weather changing, it's getting cooler outside. It usually always messes with my allergies every year, and this year's no different. So, sorry for that in advance, but what I was saying is, yeah, like I said, people always ask me, how do I manage things? How do I do all the things, right? I don't know. I don't know how I do it. I wish I could give more advice or tips or things like that, but I genuinely don't know how I do it. I just take it day by day, I guess. And sometimes that has its advantages, right? But other times it is very, very stressful and very difficult, at least for me and my personality. Because like I was mentioning, I have always been very like organized person, very particular. Like, I knew plans A, B, and C for everything, every situation. And so being a, I guess, type A planner person for most of my life, kind of just taking it day by day or taking it how it comes is really, really difficult for me. So yeah, I struggle with that sometimes because I don't like not knowing. I don't like not having a plan of what's going to happen or what we're going to do. I don't like just winging it. So yeah, but I have learned through motherhood some really, really important things that I think have really impacted me and made a difference. And one of them is to just be kind to myself. We all know that we can be our own worst critics, right? We can be the harshest to ourselves in a variety of scenarios. And one thing that I have learned through not only my daughter's postpartum, like that birth experience and all that, but also especially being a twin mom now, is just being kind to myself. I really, really learned this and really, really like adopted it when I was pregnant with the twins, and it was the first trimester for me. I had to give myself grace. I had to be kind to myself because that first trimester was rough. I was super nauseous to the point where I just like would lay in my daughter's playroom and just kind of watch her play because I was just so out of energy. I was so tired. I was so nauseous. Like, it was just brutal. So I had to learn to give myself grace and be kind to myself if I didn't get stuff done that day, if I wasn't productive that day, for whatever reason. I didn't feel well or what have you, I had to give myself grace. I had to be okay with that, because I couldn't expect to do all the things all the time when I wasn't feeling 100%. So I really took that on and accepted that when I was pregnant with the twins. And now it is still very relevant. Last night, like I said, we had a really, really long night. I pretty much did an all-nighter, being up with the kids and trying to get an order done and all of that stuff. And so today, which today is Wednesday, I woke up, didn't wake up, but when I decided to just say, forget it, I'm not trying to get y'all back to sleep, we're just up for the day type of thing, I had to tell myself, all right, we did not get any sleep last night. The kids probably did not get very good sleep, so everyone's going to be probably cranky. And you know what? We're going to give ourselves grace, and we're going to do our very best to just get through the day. And that's what we did. And honestly, it wasn't too bad of a day. It was not sunshine and rainbows, but it wasn't too bad of a day considering the night that we had. So, yeah, I've really learned to give myself grace and just be really kind to myself. And I think that has been really, really helpful for me in this motherhood and small business journey, because I do have 3 young children. It is difficult to get the things done that I want to get done for my small business. And especially when we're coming up, now coming up to markets, things like that, I'm running on a time crunch. And so I have to be okay with and give myself grace on if I don't get everything done because I had to take care of the kids, or I had to do this or do that around the house, So it definitely has not only been helpful for me in motherhood, but also has been really helpful for me in my small business journey as well, because giving myself grace has just kind of taken some pressure off. So yeah, that was one of the big things that I kind of thought about when I was, I'm trying to put this glue in a straight line, but also trying to get enough glue so that way it holds really well. And sometimes I get really focused on my straight line. Anyways, yes, that was one of the things, is just, I didn't mention this in my original video, and so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it, re-record and talk about this now, is because giving myself grace has just really been something that I've leaned into a lot, and I encourage others to do as well. Whether you have young kiddos, older kiddos, whether you've got, a full-time job as well, or what have you, just whatever your situation is, your circumstances, you're gonna need to give yourself grace and just be kind to yourself, and it will really, 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 really help. The rest of the world around us, people around us, can be very, very mean and very, very harsh, and so we don't need to add that to ourselves and be mean to ourselves as well. I really, really wish I had more tips that I could share with people when they ask, how I manage everything, but I just do the best that I can. I just take it day by day. So yeah, there's that. I don't really have a script or an outline of the different topics that I wanted to talk about. I really just wanted this to be more of a organic conversation, and just kind of the thoughts that were on my mind, and especially with having the night that we did, and just kind of what that made me think about for today. So You know, when it comes to being a mom and having a small business, I have even thought this, but people have also asked me, you know, why do I do the small business if I have the 3 children? I can, you know, alleviate a lot from my plate. A lot of stress can be taken away by not doing the small business. It's not my sole income. I do work. I don't have a traditional 9-to-5 job, but I do work. I am a sign language interpreter, and so I go around my local community and interpret for a variety of things. And so I do have a job. I do have a regular job. The small business is just extra for me. But you know, I tell people that I don't want to give it up. I know that I could. I know that it would probably, you know, save me a stress load or two, but I don't want to give it up. Not only am I doing this for my kids, yes, but I'm also doing it for myself. I found myself, and I've heard people say this all the time, that I didn't really understand it until it happened to me, is once I became a mom, my whole identity really changed into I'm a mom. And that was kind of all that my identity was becoming. So I didn't want that. I am still me, I'm still myself, right? And I've always been a crafty person. I've always been a creative person. And so I didn't want to lose that. I apologize if I'm not making any sense or if I'm like struggling to get my point across. Mind you, I am running on just pretty much a nap today. I did nap with the kiddos for their afternoon big nap. So that's pretty much the extent of my sleep. So after we finish this chat, I am going to bed because I do actually have to go into work tomorrow. But anyways, yeah, I don't want to give this up. I don't feel that I am at the point where I need to give this up yet because, like I said, I didn't want my identity to be fully consumed into just I'm a mom, right? That is my identity. That is a big part of my identity now. It is my, you know, number one thing is I am a mom. But it's not the only thing about me. It's not my only characteristic, my only, you know, special thing. I'm still creative. I'm still a crafty person. I still am me. There we go. So this kind of helps keep that for me. And so giving it up is like giving up that part of me, and just going into the full identity of only a mom. Now, if that for you is what you want, and you want your identity is I am mom. I am a mom. That is just who I am. That is fully what I am. That is great. And honestly, I thought that was going to be me. I thought that I was going to just be, once I became a mom, like that was going to be who I was I am Desiree and I am a mom. But once I became a mom and I started noticing that was becoming my identity, I really, really wanted to hold on to the other parts of me. I really felt like I didn't want to give up those other parts of me. And I don't think you have to. It is definitely, can be difficult to continue on the things that you were doing prior to children. And it is a lot more work sometimes for certain things. But I believe that you do not have to give up your whole identity to motherhood once you have kids. So, and again, that's not to say that that's not a big part of my identity. It is. It's the first part of my identity now, but it is not the only thing about me. So, yeah, people, like I said, people talk about, well, you could just stop the small business and, you know, it would relieve a lot of stress and you don't have to do all these things. You don't have to take on the projects that you do and what have you. And they're right, I don't, but I do them because I want to. I feel like there's something else that I wanted to talk about with you guys, but I don't remember right at this moment. I know that this video has been a little scattered and been kind of all over the place. And that's just how I am right now at this moment. I've got a lot going on. I've got the markets coming up. So once we hit, actually, this upcoming weekend, I think, it's just going to be super busy and then full force ahead pretty much. I have my parents' gym, they do a trunk or treat for Halloween. So we have that coming up. And then, of course, it's Halloween shortly after that. And then from there, we get into November, which now we're looking at the Bloom Market that I'm going to be doing, which is the first market back for me. And that is the first weekend of November. The next weekend in November is my sister's baby shower. The following weekend after that is the second show, my biggest show of the year that I'm doing. And then it's Thanksgiving after that, which is that next week. And then what else? I think that weekend is actually free, but then I have one more show that I'm doing in the beginning of December. And then of course, you know, we go into the holidays, the Christmas time and all that. So I've got a lot on my plate, and I guess that's why I wanted to do this video this week, is because I do have a lot on my plate. And so I've been thinking about how do I manage those things, you know, and what am I going to do? What's my plan? Being okay with giving myself grace, like I mentioned, things like that. So that's probably why we talked about this week. I know it's not a super structured video. I just wanted to keep it very honest in how things are going right now in this moment for me. And so, yeah, that's why we're doing this re-recorded video. But if you have, you know, any thoughts or any tips on, you know, managing time and all of that stuff, you know, feel free to leave them down in the comments, and we can have a conversation down there too. We can continue the conversation down there too. So be sure to hop on down there. But yeah, I'm probably not going to finish this top. I'm very tired. Oh, I remember the other thing I was going to talk about, and then we'll go to bed. I've been finding that I just need to get these things off of my chest and out of my brain. So kind of using you guys for that purpose. But nobody talks about, I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but nobody talks about how when you go from, like, you hear from 1 to 2, right? That jump of from 1 kid to 2. And they talk about, you know, how either hard or it is or how easy it is based on a variety of things, right? Nobody talks about, at least not that I've heard, how difficult it is. And honestly, it's not even just difficulty, but like even how some things are easier to go from 1 to 3. Like, going from 1 to 3 is just, it is something else. And I often wonder and question, like, why was I chosen to be the one to manage this? Like, who in their right mind thought that I could do this? Because I don't feel like I can sometimes. Tonight was a really, really good example of that. Like I said earlier, we were having a hard time getting the twins down. It took us probably well over an hour. I would say maybe almost 2 hours to get all the kids down. And usually it does not take that long. We didn't change anything in our routine. We didn't do anything like that. It's just for whatever reason right now, the kids are just having a little bit of a hard time at night. So, like today, I got the twins down. My husband was upstairs and he was doing some stuff. And so I was putting the kids down. And totally fine. All right, everything's great. We even gave baths. And usually baths help them get to sleep and stay asleep for actually a little bit longer than they usually do. So I was like, okay, great. We're going to be, all hunky-dory tonight. Get the twins down. And so I'm in Lala's room, and I can hear Cece starting to cry. But she's not like crying yet. She's just kind of like groaning, and she does that a lot when she's tired. She'll like groan. And so like, okay, I think we might be okay. She's just groaning. She's not crying yet. And then it just kind of got louder and louder and louder. And at this point, Bubba's still sleeping. I haven't heard him make a noise yet. And it gets to the point where I'm like, okay, we got to go in there. I was trying to hold out until Lala went to sleep, so that way at least she was in bed, and then I could go take care of Cece. But it just got to the point where I was like, nope, I gotta do this now. So I went in there, and then Bubba ended up waking up, and they both were just screaming and crying. And if anybody else has twins, let me know if your twins do this, or have done this when they were little. My twins will feed off of each other's cries. My twins will feed off of each other's cries. So if, like, they'll be totally fine. One of them cries and then the other one starts crying. And then one of them cries louder and then the other one cries louder. And it's just like, oh my goodness. And it gets to the point, like, I can't even tell you how many times my watch goes off saying that the noise environment is hit, 90 decibels, and prolonged exposure to this noise level can cause hearing loss or whatever. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that notification on my watch, and that's just from the kids crying. So yeah, anyways, I'm trying to soothe them, right? My husband's still upstairs, and I have Lala with me, and she's trying to soothe the babies. But at this point, I'm starting to get flustered and overwhelmed because I have both of them screaming, and they're now at the point where, like, Bubba's a big boy, and so trying to pick them both up when they're in their cribs is pretty much impossible right now. Like, before, I used to be able to get both of them, kind of scoop them up and do it that way. But now that Bubba's bigger, Cece is also bigger, but Bubba is just a lot more weight. He's a lot more dense. It's harder to do that. So, oh no, I hope I have enough. I might have to order more. Anyways, yeah, so I'm just sitting there leaning over the middle of their cribs. They do have separate cribs. We do have them in their own separate cribs. They're just butted up right next to each other. And I'm leaning over the middle of them, just trying to soothe them and comfort them. And they're just screaming at the top of their lungs. And I have Lala, who's trying to help. But like I said, I'm getting to the point where I'm overwhelmed and overstimulated, and it's really difficult to keep my composure with Lala when I'm overstimulated for other reasons, right? Not even that she's doing anything, that she's the reason that I'm overstimulated. It's not even that, but it's just other reasons that cause me to be that way. It's really hard to kind of keep my cool with her. And so trying to manage that. And finally, my husband came down and was helping me with the twins and helping me with Lala. And for some reason, they just kept going. Like, they just would not calm down. Usually we can get them to calm down once we pick them up and kind of rock them and soothe them. I even fed them. I even breastfed them, and usually that knocks them right out. Nope, not today. And like I said, they just were screaming and crying, and there was a point where my husband had my daughter, he had Lala in, I think they went to her room, and he was trying to put her down, and the twins were crying again. And I had been sitting there patting them, trying to get them to calm down. I stopped. We have this recliner chair. I went into the recliner chair and I just buried my face into the headrest, like the headrest pillow thing, and just tried to take deep breaths. And in that moment, I literally thought, like, why me? I cannot handle this. I cannot do this. It is so hard, and I don't know what I'm doing. I can't figure out why they're upset. They're not hungry, obviously. They're not, sick. I've checked their fevers. I mean, not their fevers. I've checked their temperature. They don't have fevers. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they're crying. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help them. And like, that's not an easy thing to think. Like, it's not easy. It's not, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's not a fun place to be. It's not a fun place to be, to have those thoughts. Because then what it does is it leads me into a spiral of mom guilt, where I'm like, can't handle this. I don't know why I was chosen to do this, because I'm not able to. Now, I know that I can do it, and I do get it done. But in those moments, it is really hard to see it. When I'm in the thick of it, it is really hard to see that I can do it. It is really hard to see that it is going to be okay. I am going to figure it out. And I don't know what that outcome will look like. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I am going to do it. So in that moment, it's really hard to see. Even though I know, in the back of my mind, I know that we're going to get there. Because I've been there already. Like, I've already done things that I didn't know how I was going to get through them. I didn't think that I was capable of doing it in the moment. But obviously we're here now. I look back and I did get through it. So I know that that's the case. I know that, we're going to work it out. We're going to figure it out and all that stuff. But just, there's been so many times with the twins and with Lala, and just the three of them as a combo. It's so hard. It is so hard. Like, I feel guilty for saying that. Like, even now, like, I want to cry because I feel guilty for saying that. I feel guilty for saying that it is hard, because I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I'm their mom. Like, it shouldn't be hard for me. I should be able to take care of them. I should be able to do the things that, for them. And just sometimes in certain moments, I just feel like I can't. Feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Why was I chosen for this? And so then I, like I said, go into that spiral of mom guilt, because I'm thinking those things. And it just keeps going from there. So it's hard. Like there's so many things, like, and it's little things that they don't tell you about, right? Like going from 1 to 3 is just, man, it is absolutely wonderful. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely wonderful in so many aspects. Like I love watching Lala be the big sister that she is with the twins. Like she is so wonderful with them. And I love watching that. And seeing their personalities, like seeing the twins' personalities come out and just, getting to know them more and watching them grow and all of those things. There's so many wonderful things about having three little bitties. There's so many wonderful things that come with going from 1 to 3. But there's also things that are difficult, and there's things that are not glamorous or not pretty when it comes to going from 1 to 3. And, it's just part of it. I feel kind of like I'm not making sense. I feel like I'm just kind of like rambling. But I'm pretty sure I told you guys this earlier. This is just where I'm at right now. This is just kind of how, there's a glimpse of how my mind is functioning right now. And so talking through some of these things and kind of ping-ponging everywhere that my brain goes with you guys is honestly helpful. But yeah, so I know there's going to be a lot more milestones and hurdles that we are going to have to, come up to and work through, and they're not going to be easy. And, I'm going to have these feelings again, and I know that it's going to be a thing. But man, it is hard. Like I just want to acknowledge that it is hard. And it's okay that it's hard. Like that's not a bad thing. There's nothing, that doesn't mean that I'm doing anything wrong. That doesn't, like, if you're feeling those things, that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong either. It's hard. And it goes back to being kind to yourself and giving yourself grace. I have to be kind to myself and, remind myself that it is hard. And, I'm doing my absolute best, and I'm doing what I can for these kids, and that's all that I could do. I can only do as much as I can do. I cannot give more. And so I need to be kind to myself and just remember those things when I'm in those thick of it moments and I'm just like, I can't do this. I don't know why I was chosen to do this. Man. Motherhood is hard. Which is another reason why I continue to do the small business, because it allows, like, it gives me a creative outlet. So this is how I stress relieve. Like, blinging out things, so relaxing. If you have never tried it, would highly suggest. It is very tedious and it is time consuming, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just one of those things that, like, for me, I just start kind of going, and then I just am in the groove, and I'm and it's pretty therapeutic, to be honest. So would recommend trying blinging. So I think those are the things that I wanted to talk about. Again, I apologize if this seemed very all over the place. Like I said, this is a re-recorded video, and I just felt like I wanted to re-record it, and I wanted to include some of the things that we talked about as far as like giving yourself grace and being kind to yourself and all of that. And tell you guys the true, honest, behind the scenes what's going on in my life as it currently is. That is one of the big things that I wanted to do with starting this channel, was sharing, real-time things as they were happening as much as I could. And so this is one of those real-time things where I am struggling. I am living on that struggle bus, but we are going to get through it. And once we get to the other side, we're going to look back and say, wow, I know in that moment I didn't think that I could do it, and I didn't know why I was selected to be able to handle this, but look at me. I did it. We got through it. So I think that's it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and end the video here. I hope that you guys enjoyed sitting and chatting with me, and hopefully getting some work done as well. And maybe, if you guys like these, then we might do more where I work on things and we just chat. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this very random, all over the place video. I hope that it kind of gave you some, validation on if you're having, a moment where it's feeling difficult, that it's okay to feel that way. And it's okay for you to be kind to yourself and give yourself grace. And also maybe it's a reminder to do that as well. So I think that is it. I am going to go to bed. I am very, very tired. I do have to get up for work in a few hours. So we're going to go to bed. But check back next week for next week's video, and we are going to be getting full force into market prep, and then we will be doing a market vlog soon. So I'm super excited about that. So be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications, so that way when I do upload those videos about future market prep and actual market vlogs, then you guys will be notified that I have done so. So thank you guys again. I will see y'all next week in my next video.